Hello, I just want to make a quick video about how to PvP and collect resources when you're really resource starved, like at the very beginning of the game when you just had strongest chief. So this is what I do. I look around for, I call this a grave site. It's basically a collection of towns that never moved from the location they spawned at. And you can see that some of them have tags, but most of them are lords that do not have an alliance. So these people, even if they do have tags, are most likely inactive, or like played the game for a couple days and then quit. So I mark this location under neutral. That's where I have my grave sites marked. So the one that says graveyard is the closest one. Further graveyard is a little bit further away. Oh, further graveyard is the far, far one. And then I have mid-range graveyard. So those are my 3 graveyard sites that I have marked. This one still has a lot of shielded people, but there's a lot of towns around here that are not shielded, that are not part of that alliance. Neutral, mid-range graveyard. This is another one that's just like, again, kind of fully a graveyard. So there's a lot in this MLQ alliance. When you see something like this, where a lot of the people are from the same alliance, but you don't see a headquarters or any kind of flags, that means that the alliance deleted their headquarters, moved somewhere else. So those players are all inactive at that point. So once you kind of look around the map, so like in order to find them, by the way, I scroll out as far as I can to still see towns. So first off, like I start at my alliance. If you scroll out too far, you only see your alliance. So like I'll scroll in enough that I can see our neighbors. We're not hitting our neighbors. We're trying to be friendly neighbors. And then I just kind of look around. So that's the one gravesite that's my favorite. It is very close to our base. So that one I hit pretty much every day. And you just kind of like look around. I also will look for alliances. And during Strongest Chief, I was hitting alliances that weren't in the NAP 10. But I will look for alliances and then look for the ones that are not tagged within the alliance. So those people were most likely removed for inactivity. And a lot of them have a lot of res. Our alliance is very on top of farming all of our people that are inactive in our area. But at the other alliances, I find that they're not necessarily on top of that. So you just kind of look for clusters. When you find a good cluster, you mark it. That's kind of how I do that. I really don't like having to attack people for res, but we just had Strongest Chief. I'm trying to build my level 21 fountain, and if you can see at the top, I am very resource poor. I need a lot of resources for my fountain. All right, so I have my site, and you can see I've already kind of scouted a lot of these. You can see the little blue scouty. Oh no, it's been 10 minutes. I was too slow. I try to do it fast enough where I get all of my scouts in, so I know which ones have already been scouted. After I scout the different players, if I notice they have enough resources that are worth collecting, I will then label them. In here, I'll make a star, and then I type in the amount of plastic they have, and I put them as an enemy. And then once I do that, I go through my enemy list. And these are the ones that I'm ready to start attacking. So that one has 36.1 plastic. I write down how much plastic they have so that after I hit them, I'll know if they were zeroed or if they still have more res. And obviously, like if I wrote down 22.1 and I looted 18,000, then that's pretty close to the 22.1. I probably won't bother sending another one. But if I wrote down 100,000 plastic and I took like 15,000 plastic, that's how I know that that farm can still be hit way more times. And I will send them multiple hits. So early game, if you need resources and you don't like attacking noobs, which I really, really don't like attacking people and stealing their res. This is kind of a way to attack people and steal their res, but let it be players that are most likely not playing and won't be affected. So it's kind of like a middle ground situation. So we're just going to keep marking. This one I would not bother sending. It's not enough resources to worth a trip over. Same with that one. This one is like marginal. If I get bored, I might do that one. Oh yeah, 10.1. So I had marked that one already. So ideally, you do this fast enough when you find a cluster that you can scout them all within 10 minutes, and then you'll know which ones you've scouted because they have the little face, and then you don't have to worry, or then you don't have to risk, then you don't have to pay extra food to scout unnecessarily. So at this point, I believe I've scouted everybody because I started in this general area. So then I go to my list and I just kind of work on my list. So the enemies, this is where I mark down the plastic. So those numbers are how much plastic they have. And then once I hit them, which, yep, I already hit that one. And that one. And that one. So I'll show you. This one has 22.2K plastic. So after it hits, I will move them. Yeah, all right. Alrighty, so my thing attacked. I'm going to go to my marker. My marker says 22.2. I'm going to go to my battle victory. Attack succeeded. You can see I got everything here. The plastic shows 22.2. Then I will go back to here and then delete the marker. So the reason why I have the site marked, like clusters of site marked as neutral, and then I can mark the individuals as enemies. And that just kind of helps me get organized. Once I hit them, I can delete them. Sometimes I will mark people that are floating out in the wild that are close by, that are worth kind of checking on every now and then. But because there have been enough of these large-scale grave sites, I just do that out of laziness, and it's a lot faster to collect res that way. So here's my fountain. I still need a lot of food. So I do feel bad attacking people, but that is kind of how I feel less guilty about attacking people, but also collecting res without having to pay for it. So, happy hunting. Loot responsibly. Try not to upset the noobs too much. For server strength, people recommend not attacking alliances. Obviously, these guys are so close and they're so low. So a lot of our alliance was just completely using it as a farm alliance, which is really bad. And there were a couple of others in that situation. It's not very fun for them, and it's not very nice. So it's nice to look for graveyards instead of alliances to hit. Two other quick notes. When I'm attacking these bases that have already been hit a lot, that don't have any troops or have very, very few troops, I absolutely will use Heady because it speeds up the march. If you are attacking a base that has a lot of troops and is going to be difficult, then you want to use Orpheus. If you can see here, I don't have a lot of warriors. I did a lot of PvPing during Strongest Chief. But I got some nice Herald shards from it, so it was definitely worth it. So that's why I'm sticking to easier targets now, which is Heady and my little graveyards. Another important note, if you're going to mark sites that you're going to hit if you're going to mark sites to farm, I only hit them every other day or so, maybe every couple of days, because you do need to pay every time you scout. So if you notice, it's 15,000 and it's gone up based on my level. I remember it being 7,000, 9,000. So just kind of keep that in mind, that it does add up over time, especially if you keep in mind that I have 2.7 million food and that's what I'm shortest on. That's kind of like why I'm going scouting. So just one of those things. So it does add up. you want to be careful not to completely waste and scout a bunch of sites that are most likely already scouted and plundered. And if your friends are also out farming, don't hit the same place. Try to go to a different place. So a lot of people ask me like, oh, where should I go for resources? I do not give them my local graveyard. I give them one of my further away graveyards because that's like my emergency backup if I've gone through my first two and I need more.